Hello everyone, Kaon here on Optimized Productions, here to break down my recent track, Degrade. Here's a preview. Now, let's get into the mix. So here we have the entirety of the track. So for the intro, I basically have a piano and a reverse audio piano. We also have one of the stock strings. I have downloaded basically all the sounds. I should have downloaded all the sounds. I had an issue the other day. I don't know. I was moving all my sounds to my flash drive. I don't know. Never tried it. Don't know how it works. So I have to redo all that. 60 gigabytes, 67 gigabytes. Powerful. Very, very powerful. I don't know why, but this is the only thing I cannot freeze. I can't freeze any of these, so it's a weird thing. I think these are stocks. And then a basic EQ, which is just taking out more of the low ends. It was a lot harsher. Yeah, not as noticeable, but I guess it helped mix the low end a bit better. I added a stock ARP, a trombone. So I used a stock trombone within the orchestral category, and I basically added saturations like OTT and then stereo tool. Here is the intro beat. The intro beat. It's a simple one. And if you haven't noticed, this in the starting kick here is pretty quiet. I've had issues in the past when I was originally working on this where the audio would lip or just distort somewhere around there. So I decided to lower the kick there because it's probably one of the only instruments there, the only sounds that are contributing. And here in the effects, it's pretty simple here. I have an impact and a texture. So I'm pretty sure the impact also contributed to the little kick distortion, but this is the effects for the intro. Yes, I added a stereo panning. I added some panning somewhere around here. I can't see correctly from this far. I can read far from here. I just can't see the text because it's fucking. And halfway through the intro, I include a hi hat loop. This is also slightly panned. And we're just going to go for the normal instruments first before I get to the vocals because, oh, the cringe right there. And I'm not really cringed at anymore, to be honest, because it actually sounds pretty good. I remember when I first started recording my voice when, like, a year or two ago for just like little testings. I was terrified. What was I thinking? But I'm used to it now and it's pretty good. So here's the verse piano, which we've included piano. But here's the thing: we also changed the little top lead, where we added this little note, these extra notes there. So let's play that. We got that. And the same thing as the verse ARP, same there. And we added a mood base. This is a custom mood base I made with Vital. I'm pretty sure I just added an EQ to take out the low end. So here's this. Pretty straightforward. This is routed to the master bass bus, so I'll just show you guys the whole channel EQ, the channel here. So it's pretty much a side EQ at first because each of the tracks are individually mixed. But these are just to glue it together. And second plugin, I added a stock bright tube, and then we add some. Obviously, we add OTT, simple knob changes here and there, and then we add a stereo tool. Then we add a stereo tool. I'm pretty sure I had it in that layout because whenever I open the stereo tool or Bittersweet, there's always this weird glitch with the couple of the UI. I don't know why that happens to me, but I'm just gonna assume it's because it's not that compatible with M1 with silicon, silicon, M1. And then we have this compression sidechain. So it's basically a basic sidechaining. This is sidechain to one of the kicks here. I have 3 layered kicks. Don't ask why. Then we obviously add a limiter. I use L2 for limiting the buses, and then I have Pro L1 for the master. I know it's kind of weird, but I don't need to visualize it yet, but oh well. And here we've added orchestral hits, which are not orchestral at all. This first one here is a percussion, and then this one's a tom. And if you haven't noticed, I routed these 2 tracks to a bus, which I only added Camel Crusher. What? Oh, yeah. I think I understand why. Primarily for the compressor, actually. That makes sense. So if you notice this fader moving, I've automated it to duck and rise for these hits here. It's to give a better sense of the groove, which some people might just overlook certain times, I guess, but it's just little changes can make a big difference. And now let's get to the cringe part for you guys. It's not really cringe, it's more embarrassing at this point. So right here we have a reverse vocal. As for that, we're using basically the same principle as the intro piano. It's just basically a cut from one of the intro parts of the lyrics and just cut, reverb, bounced, reversed, and then add a little bit more reverb to it, just a little bit, just for it to get some talent here. Here's the main vocal so far. I have also written lyrics on this document right here.
I'm dying to know how much I can last before this world turns me down.
And then here's the ad lib. It's also auto tuned and put at different format.
How much I can last. Down, 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 down.
Yeah, it's to accentuate the main vocals here. So together, here is what we have.
I'm dying to know how much I can last before this world turns me down. Down, 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 down. I want you to hold me, embraced in your arms, where I can show my broken pieces.
I remember the way I recorded my vocals here. I had my laptop here. I had it plugged into a USB hub, which I use for my stuff right now. And then I had my Yeti Nano. And I was just so up close and I was just singing like strained in a way, but it was like, I'm dying to know how long I can last before this world breaks me down. Like something like that. I'm not sure how better the quality is on this or how much better my singing got. Anyways, so that's the vocals here. And so far, nothing has changed until we get to the build where I add some effects because screw everything else. Let's go to the effects first. So here's the effects: riser, an uplifter, a transition impact, another riser, and another impact. So here we go. So that's the effects there. And then here's the build. It's also keeping the hi-hat loop. I don't know why I kept it, but I guess it maybe the rhythm and texture, I guess. But the build is consisting of a kick, not a kick, heavy snare, a fat snare, and then a kick. I really have no clue what's going on there. Oh well, all that matters is that's the build. That's literally the only thing changed in that's the only thing added to accentuate the whole energy of it. And now let's get on to the build up here. We have a drop arp that's a filter comes in. So it's kind of muffled there. And and it opens up right here. Opening up. Same thing with the leads here. I group my leads all together just to mix them better. Here is the lead here. And then here is this other one. This preset on Vital is possibly my most recent favorite lead preset. I don't know why. It's just that grittiness, metallic pluck that can also substitute as a sustained lead, which is still, it is really good. I love it. I just love it. And we have another preset here. And another one. This one's pretty interesting. It's pretty gritty. So I kind of have them spread out just to take up more of the spectrum. We have low ends and then we have high ends. So altogether they sound like this. But you want to know something interesting? The leads bus is actually what's giving this the most control, you can say. So here we have the leads without any bus plugins, without any mixing on the bus. If that hurt your ears, I'm terribly sorry. If my OBS settings are correct, that should not have hurt your ears. If it has, I'm still sorry. So, yes, you are hearing that right. It is a mess of high end. And a lot of these aren't even that mixed. Like, none of these tracks are mixed on their own. So, here we have a stereo widener. And as I mentioned prior, the knob's messed up. I'm pretty sure I've widened this more. Okay, so stereo width, I've increased the stereo width by that much. Here we have an overdrive. This is just cranked around. I don't know why I decided to do that, but it is cranked. I've lowered the output. So here's this. Kind of accentuates the lower ends, the lower mids, and keeps the high end a little sizzly. The most interesting thing is that there is no reverb channel on this. The reverb is in the mix. Like it is literally possibly the first thing in the mix, I guess. If you forget about the overdrive, is the only thing in the mix. Is the most essential piece. It just gives it a lot more space. It's almost like the stereo tool did nothing. It's like the reverb's doing better than this. And right after the reverb, we have an OTT, which everything's fine except the downward compression. I've cranked that downwards a bit. That usually makes it louder. I don't know anything about upwards, downward compression, but downwards makes it louder. I have the def halfway, which producers always like putting the leads at 50%. There's no reason for it. We just do it. And then here we go. Here's the intensive EQing. It's not that intensive, I think. Not at all. I basically cut out the entire high end. Here's it without the high end. And here it is with no high end. It's a lot more clean. It's not unstable. It is just clean. In my taste, that's clean. And here we go. We have a sidechain compressor, basically sidechaining to the kick again, like the bass. We have a limiter down to -3.1. Oh, that's at -3. Usually it's 3.1, but I must have forgotten. And then here we go. We have the automated high pass. And then we have a sidechain, which Shaper Box is usually known as a LFO kind of modulation, which I have it like this at a 1/8 rate, I guess. And I'm just gonna do the pad. Just a basic preset, EQ, whatever is there, I think. I can't see it. And then reverb. Yeah, it's just to fill up the mids a little more. Now onto the drop. So the drop, basically everything's the same. Everything is usually just normal. And as you noticed, I have a cutoff automation there in the middle just to make it dip a bit to allow a drum loop to go by, which it's a break drum right here. It's like a filler. So now we're here. We can check out the lead. What's so important about LFO sidechain? What's so important about that? Well, I've automated it to add a bit of more of a interesting variation. Yeah, sorry I can't show a lot of that automation, but here's the bass. We have about three different basses here. So here we have a Hoover. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a lead in a preset pack, but I was like, fuck that, let's make it a bass. Because actually, it really sounds good. Because honestly, it really sounds good. It has that little glide. It has a bit of that glide to it, and that high mid grittiness. And I actually liked it, so I decided to just wider. And here we have another preset bass by Big Z. You should check out his channel. It is phenomenal. A lot of tips I've actually seen and tried, but here, this is one of his packs. I recommend you check this pack out. It is worth it. So here is a Reese bass. You can hear there's a bit of a noise attack on it, which I might not have noticed at the time a lot, but it honestly does not matter. It still adds a bit of that nice texture to it. And here's the sub. It's just pretty basic. I might have added a bit much saturation to it. Overall in the mix, it's not that noticeable, but it really drives some power. And it hurts my fingernails when I tested the speaker on it. And here is the kicks. This is just the kicks. I'm just gonna play it somewhere else instead of the beginning, because fuck it. And here we have the whole entire snare set. And then here we have just the basic crash. And here's the fill. Very energetic. It feels more of like a D&B track, but I think I might have used that before. And this is the basic effects here. Are you kidding me? And now we're on to the second verse where we play the same verse arp, we play the same instruments, the acoustics up there, but we added a little instrument here. This is playing the second melody. More mellow. It teases it. It teases the melody. It doesn't fully like have that power to it, but it's just like, hey, here's a little twist on that. And you can see here that this part here, this here, I just added that just to make sure it just keeps that energy going high enough. So there's the little tease there. Everything here is basically a repeat except the second build here, where I added a choir. I wonder why. It's pretty bad, by the way. It's barely noticeable, but oh well. Yeah, pretty insane. Oh, everything is here is normal until we get to the fake out. Fuck. Gets irritating a lot. I froze everything. How are you still not doing it? Here's the saw and the filter saw fill. Yeah, and for some of the instruments here, I cut out half of the last part of the bar. So here's the filler saw. It's just a basic little one. Just to insinuate that little wobble in the filter. Kick also have a little bit of a fake out here too. This breakdown is just going to hell already. And for the second part, we kind of did a fake out, but with a riser and another and impact. This is time stretch. I'm pretty sure that's time stretched. I don't know why it sounds so metallic, but it's not that noticeable. Like the metallic part isn't noticeable, but the uplifter kind of is if you listen carefully. And then right up here, we add some strings, some staccatos. And usually I do these kinds of off beats. Whoa! I'm, I'm gonna edit myself to be an idiot. I know that for sure. Right? Thank you. And here's an interesting thing. For the second drop, I added another lead. But this lead is not linked to the lead bus. It is unsidechained, and I'm pretty sure this is limited. Yeah, it has a limiter on it, but it's not sidechained to the whole lead group. And this is to basically add a different feeling to it. So here's the second lead melody with the support lead. I'm going to call it support lead. It just seems like a support because it's not fully part of the lead group. So with that and the lead, it has this different feeling, but then it also has a lot more power to it. And then for the second drop here, we changed the bass. It is the same thing, but right here you can notice this little jump. The kick, the drums basically have not changed. Nothing there has changed as much. But that's basically all over the track. And we have this little piano here at the outro, which I honestly love the outro so much. It is basically the copy of the intro piano, the verse. So if you noticed, we've only used a loop for the verses. And here we have a different take on the piano. We changed like the little end pieces here. So it goes to the same note there, but we go an octave around an octave higher, and we just use two high notes just to give a different feel for the outro. I added this little that little Q flam. I've learned this trick from a drill rap producer. Here's the outro ad lib, which again, this is probably why I love the outro so much. So this is the outro ad lib. It's pretty easy. All I did here was just put it to EQ, a widener, and panning. And here it is.
Degrade, degrade. I can't see the light in my head. I'm on my knees, saying my prayers. Just help me out of my.
Let's hear this quote. If you haven't listened to the song already, I recommend you listen to the song on Spotify. It is so good. It supports me at least in some way. And let's just get into it.
There's always that voice in our heads that tells us we won't make it far, but that won't ever stop us. And don't let it ever stop you. We all go through similar stress, pain, and doubts. Keep moving. Never stop.
And that's where the Big Crusher comes in. And it kind of like the Big Crusher, that automation right here, it's just automation of the Big Crusher. It just adds that nice little texture of the emotional impact. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this breakdown of my song Degrade. If you've noticed, I did cut the video significantly. So now there are two videos out, and one is this breakdown, and the second one is on my personal channel, and it is going to be called Behind the Lyrics of Degrade. And yes, you heard that right. I'm going to be talking about sappy emotional shit that I feel like is just going to be too boring for this 45-minute video to go on about. So hopefully you guys check that video out. If not, you can just push it right on the iCard. I don't care. Up to you. And hopefully you guys have a good day, good week, and I'll see you next time. Peace. We got a new person. Yo, we got a new person. Joe Mother. That person's username is literally Joe. That is